Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Glad to see, I see some familiar names, a lot of new names. While we wait for people to just join in the next few minutes, why don't you drop a note in the chat where you're joining us from? We were just chatting about, I'm in Connecticut, and Isabel, who will be answering questions, is actually joining us from Norway today. So we were talking about trolls in Norway. So who else do we have here? We've got Tennessee in the house, and let's be fun to Chile, Scotland instead of suddenly. We got Cleveland, Atlanta, Illinois. So yes, our speakers are one is from Atlanta and the other is from New Hampshire. Chicago, Brazil. Hello, Pedro from Brazil. All right, everybody. Thank you again. So those that are you here, welcome. I am glad you're joining me for this webinar. And I have a question for you. And you can go ahead and drop a note in the chat, yes or no. But are you the person who takes photos often, turning them into photo albums or GIFs? Or are you the person in your family that's interested in family history, or you love sharing old family photos? Are you the person who is fascinated by old home movies or legacy stories? Genealogy research? Are you the person that looks at photo albums or has collections of slides? And are you ready to start a business that helps people curate, save, and share their family photos and story because the world needs you? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So my name, for those of you who don't know or haven't met me yet, my name is Kathy Nelson. I'm the CEO and founder of the Photo Managers. We are a global educational association that I started in 2009. So over the past 14 years, we have experienced tremendous growth, and the need is only increasing. We offer weekly classes, an annual conference, professional certification, and a very supportive, engaged community of people that are pursuing this growing career. I'm also the author of 2 books, Photo Organizing Made Easy, Going from Overwhelmed to Overjoyed, and a business roadmap for professional photo organizers, everything you need to grow and start a thriving photo organizing business. So today the topic is, I'm going to introduce you to 2 newer photo managers, and we'll do that a little bit more at the end and learn about their backgrounds and their journeys, because I realize every month I do this kind of a webinar, and I need to change it up because it's always, just to make it interesting and also to give people new information. But I realized a lot of times you can hear from me, but it really makes a difference if you hear from actual newer members or people who actually do this for a living. So I'm excited to introduce you to them in a little bit. But before I do that, I'm going to share with you the top 10 reasons people actually hire photo managers, what it takes to be successful, why joining the photo managers is a worthwhile investment. And I have a June special offer because, let's face it, right? Everybody loves a deal, and sometimes you need that little push to make you say, yes, I think I'll give it a shot. So we'll talk about that at the end of the presentation. Oh, so again, don't need to read you through that again. So we live in an increasingly complex technical world. Would you all agree with that? I mean, right? But one thing that hasn't changed at all is as human beings, we have not changed in our need to tell a story. It's through stories that we connect. And one of the major ways that I believe we tell our stories is through our photos, our videos, and our memorabilia. Yet most people admit to feeling completely overwhelmed by their growing collections. They just don't have time to sort through and organize the thousands upon thousands of photos they're accumulating, let alone even print them. They don't have time to figure out all the changing technology. And now it's never, I mean, who's not overwhelmed and flooded with the constant AI changes? And now Apple just made some big announcements, and Adobe makes big announcements. And who can really possibly pay attention to all the announcements, because it's hard to even grasp what they're talking about, right? So the result is a consumer who is completely overwhelmed and often paralyzed. Because in addition to all those digital photos that we're talking about and videos that we take now on our phones and everything that we do, there are still hundreds of thousands of analog or printed photos that languish in shoeboxes or drawers or fading albums. There's negatives and slides. There's videos of people's, children's birthday parties, babies' first steps, and weddings that are on outdated media formats. How many of you have camcorders left today anymore, or could, pull out your VCR tape player? It's just not, we just don't have access to that anymore. So unfortunately, in addition to all of that, the photos and videos that people cherish are at risk of being lost to the increasing weather extremes and technology mishap, right? I used to be able, when I look back over the years of the script, and I've talked about weather extremes, I used to be able to name, a few events that had happened maybe in the last year, and we would all know where they are. But today, when I started to look at this again, I realized every week now I could give a story about families losing everything from either fires or hurricanes or tornadoes or flash flooding, right? It's just it's staggering what's happening. The news media, it's just almost going to be something every day. And so the goal obviously with that isn't to create fear about, oh my gosh, what's at risk with my family photos or my neighbors or the people around me. But people realize they do need to act now before it gets too late. And so that's why this huge need has grown for professionals to step in and help, right? We now have hundreds of professional photo managers from all over the world offering a variety of solutions. We have members in the US, we have a great group of members in Canada, we have an amazing growing group in Europe, and they're having their second meetup conference in Amsterdam in October. We have a growing group in Australia, New Zealand, and then also in South America, though I'm glad we have somebody here from Brazil. That's a huge market, the whole Latin America and South America. And we have a handful of members there, but we know it's only a matter of time before this grows there as well. I think we just had our first new member from Japan, so it's pretty amazing. We also have members in Africa, so we are truly a worldwide community. So now, if you're wondering who hires a photo manager and why, here are the most 10 common reasons that I'm going to tell you and the demographics. So as I go through this list, I want you to be thinking about, well, who in this list is somebody that you can, people in the same list is what I'm talking about. And that could be your potential first customers. So one of the first reasons is digital photo overload, which we just talked about. With the advent of smartphones and digital cameras, people take more photos than ever before. Managing and organizing them has become overwhelming. This client is usually a working professional mom who is busy. She cares deeply about photos, but she doesn't have the time. A photo organizer will set a plan with them, include gathering all the photos into what we call your digital photo hub, removing duplicates, and creating an easy to share and locate collection using different software based on the client's skill level. So that's one common process that people do. Preservation. Many families have old analog photos, slides, and negatives deteriorating over time. Professional photo organizers can help digitize and preserve these valuable memories for future generations. I'd say this actually is a bigger job that more people do than even the digital photo organizing. I think if we surveyed our members, because this is a huge issue. This client ranges in age anywhere from 45 to 90. They may be ready to downsize and wondering who cares about the family photos. A photo organizer meets with the client to create a plan and often includes scanning those photos and those images. Now, memorabilia management is growing as well, because not only when people have those photos, usually stacked in all those boxes of photos or slides and negatives, are going to be memorabilia such as letters, certificates, and keepsake items. Organizers will often help curate and preserve those items in a meaningful way. This client is often in their 40s and 50s. A parent may have recently passed away, their kids are leaving home, and again, they want to make sure that they don't lose access to the items that they care about. And another growing side niche within our organization that I'm not going to get into too much detail about, but is also, and we're working with a company that has a really great digital bot called Trustworthy, but also, where's your will located? Where is your, passport? You're going to, buy a car. Where's your car? Where did you keep the document of your car? I mean, all those pieces of paper, all that stuff is spread out now, and people are just completely overwhelmed. And there's also an opportunity to go in and curate that and put that in a digital, it's kind of like a digital safety deposit box. That's a growing need as well, that people are stepping in to fill that need. This one is very common, special occasions, right? There's people get married, there's weddings, there's reunions, there's milestone birthdays. People often take a large number of photos during that time. Professional photo organizers can help create, organize, and curate a collection from those events. This client is all ages, and a photo organizer will often create a keepsake photo book or a video montage. And what's interesting is, in part of the training we offer tomorrow, we have a whole webinar on how to create really fun, meaningful video montages using more interesting software than probably you're used to. A lot of people think that, if you're on a Mac, you use your there's different ways to do it, but there's ways to really take that to a whole nother level and actually make a really good living at just being the person in your community that does those really cool video montages. Now, I want to stress as you're listening to all this that you are not going to offer all the services I'm talking about. Many of our members will start out kind of offering a banquet of services, but as their business grows, they start to focus on what they enjoy most, and then they outsource the rest. They don't do all of it themselves. Now, another reason people hire members is just because of time, right? People are so busy with their professional and personal lives that they have little time to do this project. This client includes single and working professionals and people who invest their money into travel, pets, and hobbies. The whole travel industry is, people that go on major life-changing, life travel events is huge. And pets. I mean, we all take pictures of our pets. We care deeply about our animals in most cultures at this point, and those are people that also look to have something meaningful created for them around those photographs. This one also is a high need, this technology challenges, right? Keeping up with changing technology, software, and storage options for digital photos is daunting. Professional organizers can offer their expertise in this area. A lot of times these clients just need help with technology. They'll pay for coaching and one-on-one assistance. Sometimes it's just an onboarding time, or maybe it's a 3-hour coaching call to just get somebody up to speed. A lot of times people don't understand the difference between sync and cloud storage and backup. And how come if I delete my photo on my, they think their photos are all in their on their iPhone, or they think, they're all in there somewhere. They don't understand if I delete a photo off my phone, why is it no longer in my cloud storage? Or what's the difference between Dropbox and why do I use this one over that one? People are just totally overwhelmed and they don't know the answers. This is a great opportunity to help people make sense of the technology in this space. And this is number 7 reason, because our photos have deep emotional significance for us, for our families, for individuals, and we can help create organized systems that preserve that emotional connection tied to these images. I always like to say that we are a people of stories, and the reason we take photos is to tell the stories of our lives. And I always add more than not, it's not just photos though, it's photos, videos, keepsake items, the things that, maybe it's your mother's teacup set or your father's, gun that he inherited, maybe, his hunting rifle from his great grandfather. I mean, there's lots of different things that have deep emotional value to us that need to be, somebody needs to take the time to write the story behind those and help make sure that they're saved for future generations, and then go through the amazing amount of stuff. It's called the tsunami of things that we all accumulated and people need to get rid of as they start to go into this downsizing process. A lot of people will hire somebody for personal projects. Sometimes they just want to create an album or a scrapbook or a multimedia presentation. And again, we can help with those type of projects. This one is another huge part of the market, downsizing seniors and people that are moving. It's the fastest growing client base. Today, over 10,000 people every day for the next 10 years turn 65. It's called the tsunami of baby boomers who have way too much stuff. People have been accumulating things for years, which is why when you drive around your communities, you'll notice that a lot of times when you see new construction and you think maybe it's an apartment, you suddenly realize, no, it's those storage units that are being built all over the world, because people are moving or trying to downsize and they have so much stuff, they just rent storage space to put all that stuff. So this is a challenge, right? People are really struggle with, what do I keep? And then in those, all of those things are usually these photos, videos, articles, newsletters, kids, artwork and things that they care deeply about. And they just need somebody to come and take that away from them, to go ahead and curate it and to take care of it so that it's passed down to the next generation. And then last of all, again, there's so many more than just these 10, but legacy planning is something that we really are finding is a growing need. People want to ensure that their visual legacies are well organized and can be passed down for future generations. Many professional photo organizers now are assisting in creating plans for long-term photo management. As a professional photo organizer, you provide valuable services by helping individuals and families tackle these challenges and create organized, meaningful, and accessible collections for their visual memories. In fact, right now we're in the process of creating a new level of education called a legacy preservation specialist. this whole concept of legacy planning is really growing. And at the Photo Managers, we are really committed to being on the forefront of what's happening in the industry. And that's why we're in the process of, really taking the lead on this. And we know this is going to be a growing area of interest, both for within our membership community, and then also within the world at large, looking for people to help them with this process. So again, if you have questions as I've been going, you can put them in the chat. We'll leave plenty of time for Q&A at the end. But I just wanted to make sure that I just gave you kind of a big picture overview of some of the different reasons why people will hire somebody. And I hope something in there, triggered a thought in you like, oh, I think I could do that, or I'm interested in that. So now let's talk about what are the characteristics of a successful photo manager. So I've been doing this for 15 years and supporting people that have joined this organization, and I have watched members grow unbelievably thriving businesses, significantly bigger than anything I ever dreamed of, with multiple employees. And then we have many solo entrepreneurs are very happy doing this, very, very part-time, just working with a handful of clients a month. Whatever it is that you're interested in your business, there is a place for you and a way to make this successful. But I have learned over the years that there are some characteristics that have kept people, and I don't want to say you're not successful if you don't stay with the Photo Managers, but what is it that creates, owning your own business takes tenacity, courage, and commitment. And these are the skills that we've seen over the years that really have made a difference. You need to be curious about people, history, and ideas, because when you meet somebody and you start talking to them, you're going to demonstrate to them that you're curious about, tell me about your family, tell me about your history, tell me about what's in those boxes of photos. And if you're interested and you get excited when you see what's in those boxes, that's going to make people are going to feel, wow, it's an amazing experience. We all have a deep need to be listened to and heard, and that's a gift that a photo manager can bring to somebody. So are you a person that can be curious about people and history and ideas? Are you passionate about photos and stories? Because in those photos or in those videos or in those letters are stories, right? People kind of will go down memory lane and start talking about that. And it's kind of part of your job also to keep the nostalgia at bay a bit while you're actually doing the work. A lot of the reasons people can't do this themselves is they do get overwhelmed with emotion and nostalgia. I mean, if you've got lost family members and you see them in a book or in a box, all those feelings will come rushing back. And so it's helpful to have a professional manage that. Also, are you a lifelong learner? Are you open to researching, learning, taking a deep breath, learning again, trying again? Because as I mentioned, this is a rapidly changing industry, and I'm amazed at, again, at the speed at which things are changing, and it feels like it's accelerating even more when we've already felt like it is. So it's important that you're willing to try and learn more instead of just like saying, I don't want to know anything more. It's important to be a learner. And then the tech skills. You don't have to be tech savvy right away, but you do need to be willing to learn technology, knowing that and there's going to be a learning curve. Again, that technology piece is not something that I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by the technology. And we have a tremendous amount of support within our community, but technology is a big part of this. That's what the consumer doesn't know how to use. They don't know how to use the software that will remove deduplication. They don't know how to convert their old home movies into a media file format that they can store and see for generations. And they're not going to learn how to do that because it's just, they don't have the time. It's not their interest, but that's where you're going to come in, and that's your value proposition. So that willingness, again, and we support our members. In fact, there is a big change that's just happened with Adobe and Lightroom. For those that are, some of you may know this, many of you may not. But one of our members sent me an email over the weekend he's very proficient in this. He saw the concerns. He said, I'd love to do a webinar where I can help people think through that critically, make some decisions, give them some alternatives. And already we have that scheduled for Tuesday. So our goal at the Photo Managers is we're going to step up and inform you and give you the tools and the information that you're going to need. And we're going to teach it from a level that you understand it, because the people within our community actually are the ones who step forward and do a lot of the training. So that brings me to who are the Photo Managers, right? I mentioned we're a global organization that serves professional photo organizers through our training, certification, partnerships, and conferences. We have over 700 professionals who share the same passion, a desire to help people and businesses curate their collections so they can share their stories. In addition to our professional members, we also have close to 100 photo managers in training. Now, that's a newer group. Our photo manager in training, and I'm not talking about that a lot today, is for people who know they want to get their own photos organized first, but they can't, and then they want to decide if they want to start a business. So Isabel can drop a link in the chat for you if you want to learn more than that. The cost for that is $299 for the year, and you can upgrade from there to the professional level at any time. We created that in January because we found a lot of people were joining to get their own photos organized and got overwhelmed by all the business training that we do and the technology training, and they got discouraged, right? So we found this lower level, which is again something you're definitely should take a look at and decide where you are in this journey and which place is the right place for you. And again, you can upgrade at any time, so you're not going to lock yourself into one. But to become a member of our professional organization, it's an annual membership fee of $175 a quarter, or you save $100 if you pay all up front, and that's $599. And for that, we give you access to all the support, training, and resources we provide. So I always say to myself, what's your return on your investment, right? If I were you and I was, you're listening, you're thinking, well, what do I really get for that kind of investment? And I always joke that that's what keeps me up at night, to make sure that we provide you with the best benefits. Essentially, we give you a business in a box. We've all walked the walk, and we come alongside you to ensure a quicker route to success. In the box, well, not really a box because we don't send one, but we do send you my book. We provide these are some of the key benefits, right? A community. Our overall philosophy is a rising tide lifts all boats, and that we're collaborative, not competitive. We build that sense of community through our regional meetings, which we actually just started 2 years ago, and we are in the process of getting all new regional leaders, and it's been very successful. So you'll immediately be connected with, and our regions are pretty big because there's not that many photo managers. So if you're in Florida, you're going to join like the Florida, Georgia, group. If you're in the Four Corners, you're going to be in the, and you're going to be with other states. Or if you're in Europe, you're going to be in all of Europe is going to be in your group. We have an amazing private Facebook group, which is really a 24-hour support hotline. We have monthly networking meetings, and we have a great mentoring program where experienced members will come alongside and help our newer members. Now, our core value is education. That has always been the key of who we are, and that's where we provide monthly training webinars with subject matter experts on every topic. The good news, they are all recorded and added into our training vault. So, for example, tomorrow, the webinar I mentioned is going to be about creating profitable slideshows that will wow your customers. If you missed that, you can go back and watch that at any time because it'll be in our vault. The webinar that we just added yesterday because of David's willingness to do that training for us around Adobe's changes will be recorded and added into our training vault. We also had certification. I established that years and years ago because I realized that, this is highly personal work, and our reputation could be deeply impacted by somebody who doesn't follow a strong code of ethics and good best practices. And so you're not listed and shown on our website for people to find you before you're certified. Once you're certified, you'll be listed in our directory. People always ask, how long does certification take? The course itself is not that, it takes you can do it in a weekend. We're really teaching about best practices. But then what takes time is completing a paid client project, documenting that process from start to finish, and us checking your references. So that can take a little longer. Some people do it in a matter of weeks or months, and other people it can take up to a year. We don't have any expectations on your part. It's when you're ready to feel that you're ready to pass through that next level of certification. Then you get a badge that you can put on your website. And again, like I mentioned, then your people are able to find you through our directory. And we spend a lot of time and energy and marketing dollars trying to get, sending potential clients to find you on our website. Another really great part of our membership is we have wonderful partners with amazing companies that have really, and there's Robert, he's there. I think he's on this call. We got your picture there, Robert. He owns a really great company called Projector, which is home movies. We've worked very closely with a lot of new companies that are just getting started, giving them feedback on how to improve their product. We also work with a lot of companies that have been around for a long time that offer you deep discounts because of the value that you bring to the partnership and to the membership. So you'll be exposed to all those different companies. Oops. So now I jumped ahead. I'm sorry. I'm going to bring Jackie up on stage here. She can let me come off Let me also turn my camera back on so that I'm, oops, why is it not?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you,
Oh,
and I
good.
can't see, why can't I see my, maybe, why am I not able to turn my, not mute my audio, but for some reason I'm unable to see how to turn my camera back on. That's crazy. Why is that doing that? Hang on, let me try it here. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna stay on here with just my photo and, oh, here it is down here. I got it. Not like I've never been.
Hey.
Sorry about that. So welcome, Jackie. So this is what I
Thank
promised, that
you.
I would introduce you to two different professional members, and I picked Jackie to go first. And Jackie lives in New Hampshire, and she is really just getting started. So for those of you who are in this stage of thinking like, oh, okay, is this legitimate and things, I want to introduce you to Jackie, and I have some questions for Jackie. So Jackie, let's start. Tell us about yourself and what got you interested in this business.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you. Well, good afternoon and good evening for everybody. I'm really happy to be here and have this opportunity with Jessica and Kathy. Jackie O'Shea. I live in Nashua, New Hampshire, with my husband. I have 3 stepdaughters who are all living out on their own now, and we have 2 rescue cats, Mama Roxy and one of her kittens, Taz, and they keep us entertained pretty much 24/7. So a little bit about me and my background. My entire career I spent in the high tech sales and development world. I was with companies like IBM and Salesforce, and more recently, a software company by the name of WorkHuman. So my whole world has been the corporate world. And last year, early last year, I was part of a restructuring that was occurring within WorkHuman. And I kind of recognized that I needed to take a step back and really sort of reevaluate what I wanted to do moving forward. The reality was I was just really burnt out on corporate. And I knew I wanted to do something different, but I wasn't sure what. So one of the projects I started to dig into during that time was digging into my own family's massive collection of photos. I'm the primary keeper. I have 4 older siblings. I'm the youngest. I'm the primary keeper of all this memorabilia in my basement. And, it's that constant stress of talking at family gatherings about doing something with it and nothing happening. So I went down to the basement and grabbed everything. And once I started digging into it, I realized we had something really special, a lot of special things on our hands, just like every family does. But for our family in particular, my uncle Billy, who passed away 8 years ago, was a Franciscan priest and also the on-campus chaplain at Brown University. And what I realized was I was sitting on over 5 decades worth of written and audio journals that he kept over his lifetime. And he traveled the world. He's got an incredible story. And so that really piqued my interest. Another aspect of my collection, my mother, who passed away 9 years ago, was an opera singer very early in her young adult life and performed opera. So we have boxes of reel-to-reel tapes. And anybody that's familiar with those knows trying to find a way to actually play those is a little difficult. So I went in search of a professional. I knew I didn't want to ship this precious cargo out, and I found a certified photo manager 2 towns over from me. So I had a small sampling, done by her. And when I got the digitized content back and had a chance to listen to it, it just blew me away. It gives me goosebumps every time I think about it. And it was just so special. I couldn't wait to share it with my family. So I asked Angie, who's the other certified photo manager, to tell me a little bit about how she got into this business. And she shared with me about the photo managers. And literally 1 week later, I signed up to join the photo manager organization. I signed up to go to the annual conference in Columbus. And then a month later, I launched, my company, Magic Lantern Memories, and I'm on my way to being certified. So that's a little bit of my backstory.
Yeah, that's a wonderful backstory. And it's
Yeah.
amazing that what I love about when I do this is the amazing variety of businesses and backgrounds everybody comes from. It's just from one extreme to the other, right? But often,
Yeah.
again, what we mentioned, that you could hear that passion within your voice just about stories and about, your own collection and things. So what has surprised you most about this new career choice?
A couple things. One, Really surprised at how great the demand is and the need is for our services. It's so funny because so many people were curious about what I was going to do next, right? And so every time somebody would ask me, like the minute I started embarking on this path and I would start to share with somebody very quickly, they would say, "Oh my gosh, I need your help. I've got VHS type tapes. Of my wedding. I need to get converted." And it was so refreshing coming from the corporate world where we're trying to sling technology 24/7. This just it felt so much more meaningful, and I noticed that my conversations were getting much deeper and real and personal real fast. So that was kind of a little bit of a surprise to me, and an enjoyable surprise, and also helped to drive my interest in starting the business.
Excellent. All right. And then what is your goal for the future?
Two goals this year. One, I want to get certified, and my goal is to do that in the next 90 days. I think I'm well on my way. The other is to invest in additional learning around learning Adobe Lightroom Classic, in preparation to be able to do camera scanning. I don't have a background in photography. I don't always take the best pictures, but what I've learned through the Photo Manager organization and speaking with other professionals is that there is a path to learn this, and it's not rocket science. It's investing in the learning and the training to do it. So that's really where I'm doubling down.
Excellent. Yeah, that's smart. And that's a perfect, again, not intentionally, but it fits in, right? New willingness to learn new technology. Like, so yes, if people that are here, or if any of you from a professional photography background, they come in knowing, usually of using Lightroom, Adobe Lightroom, or using a digital camera but for those that are coming at it from the other side, it's just,
Yeah.
there's a learning curve. It's not overwhelming. I mean, you can learn it. People have
You
done
can
it.
learn it.
You
Yeah.
can learn it, and you'll excel at it, but you have to be willing to think, okay, I can learn that. And lots of other people are learning with you, so you're not alone in the learning. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
excellent,
Yeah.
Jackie. Well, thank you. That was
Yeah.
great. For those of you, again, if you have questions, go ahead and prop in the chat. We'll leave plenty of time. You have specific questions for Jackie, for Jessica in a minute, or anybody else or us, we'll be glad to answer them. So now let's meet Jessica. So Jessica, welcome.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I am delighted to be here, and I really appreciate you having me here. So I am Jessica Fay, and my business is Picture Yourself Archived. I'm in Georgia. I was born and raised in Georgia, and I live in Atlanta with my wonderful husband and our 7-year-old son. Um, and I started my business in 2015. Um, but then I took a couple of years off to start my family and to finish my master's degree. So it was exciting to come back in 2022 when my son started kindergarten and be able to refocus on developing my business. So that's a little bit about me.
All right. So tell us, yeah. So what I love about your story too, Jessica, is that people, you come, you started, and then you took some time off, and then it was
Yes.
wonderful to. We remember meeting each other and a long time ago.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then she came back. And so, what is it that has surprised you most about your career choice and about the process of getting clients and getting your business going?
One of the things that has surprised me the most is that, like you were talking about with Jackie, we're always learning something. It's never stagnant. We always have to learn about some new technology and new systems to put in place in our business to make it more efficient. A big area is privacy and the privacy protections for our clients and for ourselves. So again, we're always learning. There's always something new to learn, and it's a pleasant surprise that I was surprised at that. And then another thing that has been surprising for me is just the amount of time that I have to carve out to make sure that I am getting out there and getting exposure for my business. People want the business, but um, there's the aspect that they have to trust you because you are working with their precious memories. So getting out there, networking, or being a part of different groups has made it so people can know me better and trust me.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I'm glad you mentioned that because you are in business and it takes time.
Yeah.
Business, starting a business is it's not like you open the doors and maybe you might be lucky and open the doors and the masses rush in, but most likely, you'll get that first what happens a lot of times is your closest circle of network are your first customers, right? And then there could be the hardest customers to please. One, because you feel bad maybe charging them and you're not really sure
Absolutely.
value and you second guess yourself. And when you really are growing, it's when you move outside of that circle and that circle starts to expand, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
And that happens through networking and be kind of establishing yourself as the person within your community that people know and look for and find
Yes.
that.
And another thing I was going to say is it's important to find that good support system of people who will say your name in rooms you're not in. So, so that is something else you have to work on, and that is what I'm also working on.
Now I'm putting you on the spot because I didn't tell you that I was going to ask this question, but but do you have your like what if I met you if we were like walking down the street and I said or I ran into you in the elevator, I said, "Oh, Jessica, what do you do? What do you have how's that going? Your like quick overview of what it is that you do."
Sure. Well, I would certainly say that I help people tell their stories through their photos, any videos that they have, and their personal memorabilia. And the ways that I do this is by creating digital photo albums, help people digitize their old VHS tapes that many of us have. I work to preserve people's memorabilia because I do think that everyone has a story and I want to help you tell yours.
Wow. Okay, perfect. You got very good. I know. Sometimes I can make you nervous. And then I bet you people get intrigued, right? What's the
Oh,
response
yeah.
here?
Yes. People are very intrigued. And like you were saying, people will say, oh, and like Jackie was saying, oh, I really need you. I haven't seen my wedding tape in 25 years, or I'm working on a, a young woman who is around my age, but she has old birthday party film, and almost all the people in the video have passed away. And so she wants it digitized so that she can see those people and hear those people's voices. So I tell her it's really emotional. It's beautiful that you can give those people their memories.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's really amazing. What is your goal for the future?
So my overall goal is to make my business sustainable so that I can pass it on to my young son.
I love that when you told me that. It's so funny because I I was able to say my son who has watched me, 15 years, or he's watched me be involved in all this, but he now is so he's much older, but he's gonna be he's turned 30. But 2 years ago, he started doing this full time after being a graphic designer, photographer, working with adults with special needs. He had all these different businesses.
Yeah.
And I've watched him really grow a successful, it's been 2 years, it's coming up on 2 years. And he has that passion. He always has for the stories. And, he
Yeah.
sends me these pictures. He's scanning a bunch of Civil War letters from, or not Civil War, but World War II
Wow.
family. And now he's getting a lot of repeat business, which has been really interesting. This month I hadn't heard from him like in a week and a half. And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I'm so busy. I keep getting, and they're like the newest 5 or 6 clients are people bringing back work, new clients,
that's
old clients bringing new work back. And I thought, well, there you go. That means that that's a great sign of the
Yes.
business, right? Because everybody's got stuff. It's just a matter of, and then also they can piecemeal the projects out. So if they don't have the budget to do everything all at once, I know he does that with their video people's like home movie conversion. If they have like 100 home tapes, they'll say, well, let's do 5 a month, or let's within your budget, we can spread it out over a year. And so I'm
Yeah.
psyched for your son. I will have to introduce him to Joshua.
Yes, that would be really nice.
All right. So thank you so much, Jessica and Jackie. Again, I see some questions starting to come in. I'm going to share my screen again for a minute here. We do have a YouTube channel that has over, I'm not sure, I think I said 25, might be more than that, career advice from a pro. So every month I interview different professional photo managers and I ask them, not those same questions, 5 similar questions. And so you can go back and listen to a lot of different people who have talk about from everything from team members to how they got their businesses started. And then we'd love to have you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're working on building up that subscription, and we're moving more and more of our content onto YouTube because that's kind of the place to be these days. And we're finding it to be a great Also training and different tips for if you want just help on your photos, we also will have a lot of that there as well. Now I mentioned those bonuses. So this is new. We've never had this bonus before. You're the first people seeing it. We have, this is something we get asked all the time over the years. Do you have a photo organizing contract and a good faith, an estimate agreement? And we have not always had that because usually attorneys and things, but this year we have now created standard operating procedures, which you can purchase when you're ready in your business, which has all the forms and things. And I carved out these 2 forms, which would cost, if you went on our website, they'd be $228. But we will provide those to you as part of joining, if you join within the next week. So we're going to give you a little bit of a, by midnight on Monday, June 17th. So there's a timeline to this, so get advantage of this. So, but I did know that most people love to have a little motivation. So we'll follow up with an email to remind you of this as well. But if you join within that time frame, we'd love to provide this with you. So I am going to now stop sharing and let's see what kind of questions that we have. Isabel, we got some questions.
Yes, the first question is related to anticipated startup costs and what those are.
Yes, and you know what? I might have Jessica and Jackie jump in a minute here, but the startup costs really are fairly minimal in the sense that your biggest costs are going to be probably its membership is the start. You know, that's your base to get you in. You're going to want, most likely people are going to be asking for scanning. We do recommend that there is a basic scanner, the Epson V600 or the Epson Fast Photo. Those are basic scanners. You probably will eventually upgrade to camera scanning because it's much more efficient and a much higher processing speed, but that's going to take a little bit of time based on your learning abilities. And then a decent computer are kind of the biggest startup costs really to get in. Jessica, let's start with Jackie and then we'll jump to Jessica. What would you all say?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, it really was a minimal startup cost. You know, even just getting the website up and running, I was anticipating that would be more expensive than it was. It was really easy, and I got the flatbed scanner. I'm waiting to get the other fast photo feed system until I get a project where it warrants investing in it. So I am trying to heed some of the recommendations that I got, not to just go out. It's exciting to walk into like Staples and all the stores and be like,
Yeah.
I need the label maker and I need to, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, I want all this cool stuff. But it's like, okay, like, you know, tamp it down, wait until you get the project, the signed contract, you go
Yeah.
make the investments. And the more I've learned, the more I've tried to make very sound investments in, you know, certain softwares and partnership software, similar to, you mentioned Robert being on with Projector. You know, that's something that I want in my tool belt. So I'll make investments like that, but minimal startup costs.
Excellent. Jessica?
I would definitely agree with Jackie. Minimal startup costs, and mine are even lower than Jackie's because I use a lot of vendors. So I will give it to my vendors to do the work and then present it to my customers. So I don't have as much equipment, but I would say a very good computer, like Jackie said, and investing in those good software packages. A great website, and making sure that you have a customer relationship management tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good CRM. So, and what's good is if you've never had a business yourself, and this is all new to you, the SCORE, your small business association in your community, if you Google SCORE, those are retired business executives, they're not all retired actually. A lot of, and I think they even now have a great online, it's free. They'll help you, like, you know, setting up, if you need an LLC, what are the pros and cons of setting all that up? There are, you know, small businesses are the heart of the economy in most countries. And so most countries, not just the US, I know Canada and other countries in the world also have really great resources that are free that you can access for some of that basic training in terms of getting yourself up and running.
Yeah, Kathy,
Yes.
if I could just chime in there, that was actually going to be something that I wanted to mention specifically, because coming from the corporate world, I really had no idea about some of those resources. And so when I signed up to get a SCORE coach, I also signed up with the Small Business Development Center in New Hampshire. And I might have mentioned that, I don't think I mentioned it during this call, but I actually submitted a business proposal to the state of New Hampshire to compete for a chance to get $5,000 in grant money, which I will use towards future training. And I didn't even know about that until my coach shared it with me. So I'm astounded at the amount of resources out there to help us succeed.
Also local banks, like when my son, when he joined, there was a local bank, if he went through, I forget, it was like a 12-week program and it was great training, then he got a line of credit, at a really low interest rate from the bank, because it's just like your local small business bank that you see advertised that you might never pay any attention to. You might want to pay attention to it. Like, what is it that local bank is offering to new small business owners and things like that? There might be like very low cost loans and low interest loans. So there's a lot of things out there that you can take advantage of.
Yes.
All right.
There's a question about the services that each of you offered first, or what you decided to focus on first.
Jessica, why don't we start with you and then we'll switch to Jackie just for.
Sure. Well, my first service offering was digital photo albums, and that just came about organically. I was creating my personal digital photo albums to celebrate my engagement and then later my marriage. And I loved the process of doing that. And I got a lot of great feedback and people asking me if I could do it for them. So that is one of the ways that I started making money and started my business.
All right.
Nice. And for me, similar to what you mentioned, Kathy, early on, is I set up the business as I provide a plethora of the services that you mentioned that support those top 10 needs that are out there. So I'm still finding my way in terms of where like either my sweet spot is or where I really want to double down and focus on. So initially I found myself having a lot of conversations about doing the digitizing of the old photos. But the further along I've gotten, I realize how important the holistic picture is and how great the need is for overall photo and video management, the storage aspect, the preservation, so and it's funny, the most immediate work that I've received is in VHS conversion. So I got involved and learned and got the equipment that I needed to do that really quickly. And I have like 4 or 5 more people that are like, I got to get some VHSs to you. Right?
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. I found that a lot of millennials have been coming up and asking me about VHS conversion. So that has been really interesting because I was wondering what would be the thing that would bring that that demographic to me more. And yeah, it's been the VHS. They want that Christmas special of Snoopy or Charlie Brown, and or like I said, my the woman I'm working with now, she wants those old birthday memories. So yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Isabel, next one.
Doesn't look like we have any other questions
Oh, I
currently.
see you put their links.
But there was a question about your website link, so I added those to the chat.
Thank you, Isabel.
And I noticed that, I think Beth is here because maybe she was your mentor for both of them. So Beth, thank you so much for being such a wonderful mentor. I had no idea that you had mentored both of these folks. And so thank you for being a mentor. When you join, and the mentoring program that we have is not, it's a short-term mentoring program. It's not really to teach you the how to be a photo, the actual like how to do the scanning, how to do the home movie conversion, but also just to be a support person. It can be lonely being a solo entrepreneur. We do a lot to try and connect our members with each other. We have open work time where you can join in on a virtual meeting and meet other people. And have either of you participated in those times that we've put out there yet?
I have.
Not yet, but I need to.
Yeah, no, you don't. I mean, it's optional. We were going to
Yeah.
you can do. And then we also have regional groups that you can get involved with right away. We have a new member orientation that we do the last Friday of every month, where we really talk about how to simplify your business and to get, it can feel like a fire hose of information when you get started. So we try to give you all the tools that you need so that you can be confident getting started. So
We did have one more question come in. So Karen's saying VHS conversion was one of the things she thought she would outsource, but there's no local vendors or partners for her. So maybe something she has to approach. Were you nervous about offering this particular service? She's worried about the potential of damaging older tapes, and it's hard to damage photos while scanning, but definitely not as asked for.
Um, that is a good point, Karen. And one of the things that I have for my customers is I do put in my contract about how I will try my best to take care of their videos, but if something does happen, so I have that language in there, and you can certainly talk to an attorney. Again, the Small Business Administration can help you with that also. But I was more excited than nervous. I felt like it would be such a great time to see their memories, so I jumped in.
Jackie, did you jump in too, right?
Yeah, I did. I know I echo everything that Jessica just said. My first two were a woman showed up that I used to work with years ago for a coffee chat, and she handed me 2 VHSs, and one was a chronicle of her entire childhood and growing up with her parents in it out in Western Massachusetts. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I guess I'm going to do this now. And I loved it. I loved it. It was great. I mean, I did the research, figured out what I needed, got some recommendations from other photo managers, and everything Jessica shared about the contract, smart and important.
And what's important to remember too is that there's again, that's where the community, if a tape broke or something happens, there are amazing members who would step in, could probably set up a Zoom call with you, help you either fix it, or if worse came to worse and then you did have to ship something off. And then notice behind me, my favorite saying on my wall behind me is that everything is figure outable. So it's a Marie Forleo, it's not my quote, but she's a well-known internet person, but I always love that concept because even for me, I have to, we're constantly learning even here at the Photo Managers, and how do we run an organization like this and how do we support our members? And when I get scared and stuck, I think everything's figure outable, right? So, and then I guess Karen's asked another question. Any bad experiences as a new business owner, Jessica or Jackie? Anybody, have you got any bad experiences?
Jackie, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say not yet. I am still early on this track. I think my biggest thing is learning to not slow myself down as a solopreneur, as a business owner, having been in corporate America my whole professional life. This is so freeing, but I also need to maximize on that. So I'm my own worst critic, right? I'm always wishing I was doing more, want to do a million different things, and I lean heavily on my coaches and my mentors to try to keep me focused on doing the business.
Yeah, I can understand that. I would say, and I think Jackie and Kathy would agree with this, is that pricing can be a big challenge. And I know I do have a story that I didn't price the project like I should have. And when I went back to the customer, my potential customer, they decided not to move forward with the project because it was out of their budget, which is totally understandable. But I felt really horrible that I didn't price it like I should have and lost that customer. But that's something that the Photo Managers can help you learn. Beth is a wonderful mentor. She and I talked about that. So there's lots of people and lots of resources to help you learn how to price.
We do a fall virtual conference. We call it Profitability Live. We're changing that up this year. We've done that, which is all about money and profits. And but the biggest request in the survey we just did was overcoming pricing anxiety, money fears. I mean, there's different ways, but pricing anxiety, knowing your value, knowing your worth. And so again, this is constantly information that we try to bring to members, and then leaning on experienced members who have learned that, in some ways, if a client doesn't see your value, it's not worth working with the client, because they could, it could be exhausting. My son, you know, he uses a great line, and the difference how men and women view pricing is fascinating.
Yes.
He says, well, we're not Spirit Airlines, you know, so when they around home movie conversion, yeah, you know, and he's just happy he says it without ever even, you know, blinking an eyelash. And then the people are like, oh, okay, good point.
I
So,
love that.
yeah, because there's can be a race to the bottom if you're comparing. I'm not trying to be that person. I wear, you know, wear white gloves. It's a white glove service. I pick up and delivery. I do all these things to make sure that you get the best quality. Um, so I think we got time for one more question before we go on into our whole hour here. So is there one more there, Isabella?
Yeah, what types of marketing did you start with?
I'll just call you off. Jessica, you go first.
Sure. So I certainly made sure that I had a really good website, and I also built up my social media, my Instagram and my Facebook accounts. And that was after doing some research, again, being a lifetime learner, doing the research and finding out where my demographics were, and not trying to spread myself out too much, trying to get on every social media platform. So those are the things that I really focused on.
Yes. For me, it was website, social, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm still trying to navigate some of that. And then I've actually gotten quite a few good referrals through my coaches to people that do professional organizing. So the National Association of Professional Organizers, NAPO, national organization, very, very, you know, complementary partner with the photo managers. And I have a few in my area. And in fact, one of them asked me if I would be willing to write a blog post that she could send out, you know, in her newsletter. So I did that. We're talking about round 2. So it goes out to her entire distribution list of both former clients, current clients, and prospects. And I'm going to take that same material and go give it, you know, go find 2 or 3 other NAPO members in my area that would like to have me do something similar for them. That's a no cost, you know, but it does take time scenario. And then, you know, I think my bigger investments will come in fall, trying to get on the calendars at local libraries, maybe pick a few, you know, pick some of local events where I can have a table and a display and start to generate leads that way as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would highly recommend in the fall, in the holiday season, is, you know, your local smaller, you know, where you get a table for $50, or, you know, it's a smaller community kind of event. And, you know, it's a very visual process. You could just put a box of messy photos and some VHS tapes out there, and people are going to come by. They're going to all know what it is, and you can talk to them about that. So, yes, we will be at the NASM conference. I was going to say the National Association of Senior Move Managers, huge, you know, these are helping people downsize. It's a natural fit because in those homes are all those photos and memorabilia. When they're, you know, professional senior move managers do not have time to deal with that. So there's great partnerships there. Well, this has been a great 1 hour. It flew by. I didn't expect it to be great. Thank you, all of you that have stayed with us and listened so carefully.
Yes.
Again, we that one of our members that is listening, like, wait a minute, I want those forms, but it is unique to new members that joined during this short window of time. But you're welcome to join, obviously, at any time. We just like to give people a little incentive. So thank you so much, Jackie and Jessica. Thank you so much for your time. I didn't realize I had the 2 J's. Really glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hopefully you as the audience have enjoyed hearing from members themselves and not just me talking about it. These are, you know, honest conversations that we've been having. So thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Take
Have
care.
a good day.